Hello. Ah, a name with a face. Hi, Tracy. Hello, Gabe. Hello, everybody. It's good you're coming early, just like it said. You never know. I mean, you never know. There we go. Just admitting, folks, there's going to be a lot of people today. Yes. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Here we go. The day just zooms away all day long. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Okay. Welcome, folks. Welcome. This is going to be interesting. We have about 60 something in that neighborhood, folks. Be with you in a second. Okay, here we go. More and more.
Hello.
That's good. Hello. Oh, Leah. Hello.
Am I the first one here?
No. Do you see?
From our team?
Oh, from our team. I think so. Yes. Thank you. Welcome, folks. Hello, hello. Thank you for coming. Just get yourself ready and have something to drink, and here we go.
Hi, Nicole.
Hey, Leon. Long time no see.
I have to say, though, it kind of looks like Celebrity Squares, but it's so easy to pinpoint where Waldo is. I love your living room.
This is the it's an electric chartreuse color.
How do you say it?
Chartreuse. It's like a yellowish green.
Sounds fancy.
It will soon be changing.
Well, we're getting there, folks. 47, 48. Just got a few, just a few.
Anybody else hearing in their ears, it's the final countdown.
Almost there. 54. Almost on time, too, which is really impressive, actually. Hello, folks. Here we are. For you, those of you who've joined early, interesting. Messages are popping up everywhere.
Mm-hmm. How were you on something where that came
He
on?
sent, no, on Zoom.
You just went to Zoom?
Oh, no, he sent us a link on our email this morning.
Now, if you have something good for lunch to share, it's really important.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
This is the difference between bits and atoms. Atoms, you can share. Bits, you can share, but they're not as filling. Right? Atoms, real estate. Right? Bits are these electronic things.
Lots of people.
Yeah. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there.
That's a big one, Monique.
Yeah.
Here we go, sports fans. We hit 62. I think we're okay. No, because we got to count ourselves. So,
Well, there are 4 of us right now from our team.
so it should be 65 then. Doug's here. Okay, good, Doug. Should we start, Doug? I think we might be missing 1 or 2, but
Yeah, Elliot, it's great to have you on board and your team on board. And thank you for giving a little bit of grace for people to sign on. I think you are good to start, and I appreciate the fact you're recording this because some of our teachers are going to be identified maybe a little late. And some of the teachers that you have online were just identified here very recently. So I just appreciate your patience and your grace. And I'm trying to manage multiple calls right now. So I'm probably going to not have my video on as I try to multitask just a little.
no problem. People are still coming, but I think we hit it. Well, 66, and then 4 of us, so 62 of you, which is about right. Maybe 1 or 2. Okay, here we go, sports fans. My name is Elliot Soloway. Welcome. You're about to learn about digital curricula, and this is the curricula for K-5 that you will be using in your classrooms. You'll see it today. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming at you, folks. A lot of stuff. Be patient. I've learned the word grace recently from Doug, actually, and somebody else, and it's a good word. A little patience with yourself, with the work. There are videos to help you do this work. We'll be meeting again. You can see the video from this meeting. So, oops. And
That was me.
that's you. Wow. Well, do you want to introduce? We can introduce folks first.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. I'll
Yeah.
stop and share.
Okay, because then I can see everybody's squares. So I'm Elliot Soloway, co-director of Center for Digital Curricula. Our mission is give away free digital curricula K-5. Schools don't want technology, schools want curricula. Teachers are the heart of a classroom. Curricula is the heartbeat of a classroom. And it's not about the tools, it's about the curricula. And that's what we're providing, and that's what you're going to see today. I'm going to quickly go around the room and introduce our team. They'll tell you a bit of story about who they are and how they came to be to do this. I'll tell you a little story about me. I was a professor at Yale, and I did artificial intelligence. And then we had a kid, and it dawned on me one day that making kids smarter would be a much better use of my time than making computers smarter. So I literally stopped doing that AI stuff, thinking natural intelligence must be easier. Yeah, right. My wife's a kindergarten teacher, so I go into the class like, oh my God. So with that, let me introduce Monique. Oh, you're muted.
Nope. I'm Monique Coleman. I'm from Haas Elementary. A little tiny K-12 school district just a little bit northeast of Flint. We border Flint. And I became involved in this project using MSU Create for STEM's MLPBL units, and just realized that roadmaps could be used for so many other things, and started building out lots of stuff and started talking to Elliot about it. And then he actually created some connections with OER, and we did some PDs, and here we are.
Absolutely. Liat.
Hello, everybody. My name is Liat Kopol. I'm originally a special education teacher from Israel. And my job in the team is to support wonderful teachers like yourselves that are using roadmaps in their classrooms. And I think you're really going to enjoy it and really see the potential of it, because it is not just a curriculum, it's a curriculum that you can personalize and customize to your students' needs and really help you meet each and every one of your learners' needs.
Thank you, Liat. Nicole.
Hello, my name is Nicole Andries. I am a K2 computer science and 3-5 STEM teacher at Kent City Elementary. fun fact, Mr. Greer hired me way back in 2010 to teach there. So thank you for the job. I'm still enjoying it. And my teacher partner and I piloted roadmaps last year using the MLPBL maps for Create for STEM. And when COVID hit, the other specials teachers, exploratory teachers we call them in my district, had no idea how they were going to get their curriculum to students. And so we taught our gym teacher, our music teacher, and our art teacher how to use the maps. And we collaborated so that all 5 of our lessons were on one map, sent it out. K-5 students, we had great participation, great feedback from our parents, and I'm excited to share this resource with you.
Thank you, Nicole. I think Denise is here.
I'm back. I hope my volume is working okay.
Yep, it is.
Hi. Thank you. I'm Denise Gallimore. I have taught K through 6 for many, many years. Most of my career was upper elementary. I have had the roadmap experience for almost 2 years. I used it an entire year inside of the classroom with 5th grade, and I started through the world of social studies and OERs, open educational resources. I served as a teacher for the last 4 years on the state committee, the Go Open, the My Go Open, Michigan Go Open through MDE, as part of the vetting and content curation, and that is where I met Elliot and this roadmap team. I was looking for a tool to bring those resources to those students in an engaging, meaningful way, and the roadmap served that purpose for me to put those resources. And the last year since COVID, I've been helping teachers train and bring them in and showing them that all of the things that you want and have can be in one place. Well, I'll show you some examples later, but I think you'll enjoy learning and welcome. It's fun to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Okay, so here we go. I think I've introduced everybody from the team. Is that right? Because there's so many. I think I did. Okay, Monique. Do you want to share your screen?
Absolutely. So here is where you started. This is the professional development #1 in the series. We expected that you kind of got a feel for what UMCDC roadmaps are, that you heard some testimonials, that you got to look at some of the roadmaps in different ways that you could use them. Here is the link in which you came into this meeting. And now we're going to take a look at a driving question board. And the reason why we would use a driving question board is to bring a collaborative atmosphere to virtual learning. I think this is a very helpful tool in a way that you can bring students into one area. So we're going to click on the #5 node, myself and you. And within here, yours looks a little different because you're in the student platform. So you'll have a green banner up here at the top. Mine is blue. Our drawer looks a little different. You'll have a blue launch down here, and I have a launch here. The instructions are in here, but when you launch your instructions, you'll actually see that you can have it read to you with a little speaker, and then you'll click launch. When you click launch, it's going to take you to a collaborative driving question board. It says click on the driving question board below. Look at all the people that are entering. Oh my goodness, they're coming fast and furious. We're going to click on the driving question board. Notice here there is a completed box at the bottom, and that's why that was colored in purple, is because someone had clicked the completed box. I'm in the student platform. You can see here there is a speaker to listen to the directions, and then I would click launch. It's going to take me into that Collaborify map. The Collaborify map that I'm in, oh, I see someone's already understood how to make a node, and they have changed the color of it. Here you would click plus at the bottom. A drawer comes out. When that node you click inside that node, and then it's going to give you the option for a title. So I can ask a question here. How do I send this out to my students? And then I can make a question. I can change the shape, right? Or the color of my node. I could, as we get answers for them, we're going to write in the comment section, and notice that's how that gets colored in. So I know that if I put something in here, like you see that colors in, that means that that has a comment in it. There's also the option for an image. So what I'm going to do right now is give you about 4 minutes or so and allow you to add some questions that you have about Collaborify roadmaps at this point. I'm sure that you have tons of questions, right? So go ahead and add a question. We're going to give you about 3 or 4 minutes. It's probably going to be quiet. We're not going to say a whole lot. That's fine.
To see better,
roadmaps already created for each day. Oh.
to better see all the questions, if you look at the bottom left, you have a magnifying glass that you can zoom in and out, or you can see the square. It's going to center it to show you everything.
Mm-hmm. So I can see some people are putting their question. Yes, it is kind of like a Padlet, isn't it? But I am going to copy yours and put it in there. How about that? So we can see your question. But you could do it, Nicole does it this way. Nicole uses it where she has the student actually put their name. So like I would put my name there and then go in and put what their question is within it so that you can actually click on that student. Sorry, I stole somebody's bubble.
And that's really important. And something that, as somebody that has already been, you know, trying this out for the first time last fall, it's important to do some teaching around digital citizenship with your students, and make sure that they understand it's not nice to move people's bubbles off the screen. It's not nice to take somebody else's bubble, that they shouldn't erase what somebody else has put in their bubble, that they need to stay in their own bubble, and be a great digital citizen.
I like that. Most people must be pretty comfortable with technology. I see lots of colors and images popping up, and as a teacher, you can organize them as they come in. You could actually give that to a student as a job, and they can organize them in categories so that you know what section to go to answer certain questions. I see someone just pulled a link. The links you use by just in the middle of a node, and you pull from the middle of one node to the other node and touch them together, and they will create a link. There you go. And within that link, you can click on the link and you can actually title the link too. So if I want to title this link, I can click on it and I can put something on there. Read this next, right? Oh, Mickey Mouse ears. Give you one more minute to add some more questions, and then we will move on to our presentation. Okay, so we have tons of questions, some connections. We have some pictures in here. We have some colors in here. There's lots of cool things. I'm going to allow one of our team members to go through and organize this so that we kind of make sure that we're touching on all of the pieces or all of the questions that you have. This exact same driving question board will go with you throughout the PD. So we're hoping that every question that's on the board gets answered by time you get through map 4. And if not, we will be meeting again. So we will make sure that they get answered. But the whole idea is that these questions are, it's kind of like an inquiry-based type thing, right? As you come up with these questions, when you go through the PD, hopefully you get the answers to all the questions that you have.
And
Oh, who's Woodchuck?
Monique, I'm already sorting it out, and there are a lot of questions about how to use roadmaps that will be answered very shortly.
Absolutely. So at this time, I just want to kind of go through what we're going to be doing today. We started with our roadmap. Dr. Soloway is going to talk about some of his favorite pieces and highlight some of the pieces that we have within roadmaps. We're going to come back to the driving question board, and anything that was answered within the first part, you will put comments in, and we'll show all of the bubbles lighting up because there were actually answers to some of these questions. And then we're going to look at a 5th grade schedule and talk about the apps that we have available, the curriculum that we have available, and the ways to use it within a classroom. So I will turn it back over to Dr. Soloway.
Thank you very much. I will share my screen. It's hard to monitor the chat while we're doing this, and you try to put the questions on the question board, but we'll still try and monitor the chat. Okay, so let me show you my screen. This is, you don't want to see this. This is roadmap.center. That's the URL. When you log in, which you hopefully have done, you're going to see sort of some information. I want to point out that we have tutorials here, written tutorials, and we have wonderful videos, 1-minute quick videos. Some people like videos better, some people like to read it, so we have both. If there's a question and we don't have a video, tell us, we'll make the video. Similarly, if you need a manual, a tutorial, let us know. I mean, there's always changes, let us know. So you come here, you to Roadmap Center. We have a repository where all the roadmaps are put, like the curriculum that you will be using. And you'll search it. If you look back here, it gave you a way to search the repository. You type in UMCDC, the grade level, for example, first, second, and then maybe the subject. Okay, so I'll do that. So I'll come back to the repository. I'll say UMCDC and say first. And here are the units for first grade that are there. Not much is there. Well, there's actually quite a bit if you look here. But more is coming. We are finishing the vetting process for the various curricular units. And literally every day, new units are up. By Wednesday at 5 p.m., they'll all be up. Okay? But there's still plenty of materials there. I want to show you. I'm going to do whoops. I'm going to do UMCDC first, lowercase, still works. Okay, so it isn't case sensitive. I tested that. I thought it was, but it's not. Okay, so now I'm going to come to my roadmaps. This is my little repository. Well, it's big, but I got a repository, and I'm going to search for one again because I know this word webinar is there, and it's this one, demo of student work. So I'm going to click on that roadmap, and here's another roadmap. They look a little different. That's the point. They're different shapes, different colors. They are like a Padlet. It's a concept map, but their nodes are interactive. So I'm going to click on where it says umich.cdc. The drawer opens up. There are instructions. I click launch, and we're taken to the website for the Center for Digital Curricula. I'm the co-director. My colleague Kathy Norris just joined us. She's the teacher. I'm the techie. We've been working together for a few years. And I've learned the difference between the word content and curricula. Someone who's not an educator doesn't know there's a difference. There is. And I've learned. I have learned. I've learned that teachers are the heart of the classroom. Curricula is the heartbeat of the classroom. Schools don't want technology. Schools want curricula. And that's what we are providing. And if you go to this node here, you can see the different curricula, descriptions of it. But I want you to come over here. I know you're doing remote. I know you're doing remote. But I still think you might want to take a look at how this looks in a classroom when kids are using roadmaps. And so they could be, each child here has a Chromebook. Now they'll be sitting at their kitchen table, right? And they'll be on a roadmap. But they can actually work together, and you're going to see how they do that. They can talk through the computer to each other because we have a phone icon with a voice over IP, VoIP. And the kids can talk to them and talk to you. You could talk to them through the computer. And the pedagogy style, you could do it more teacher-centric. All the kids are going to your rhythm, or the students could do it more to their rhythm. So here is our website. I urge you again to come here, take a look at it. Now I'm going to go back to my tabs at the top of the browser and click on the tab to the left of the one I just opened. And now I want to show you, I clicked on standard-based full-year curricula. I want to show you how one roadmap has all year the curricula in one roadmap. This is not for students, this is for you. You have one roadmap that has 3rd grade MESA social studies, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 2nd grade, etc. And one roadmap has them all because this roadmap has other roadmaps in it, right? So here's, and our geography MESA units are theme-based, so geography, economics, government, history. I'm going to click on geography, why is Michigan special? The drawer opens up, I click on launch, and now these are all the questions associated with this geography. Now, again, it's not for students, but now we're going to get something for students. So what are the important natural characteristics of Michigan? Okay. And this is a roadmap that you will distribute. You'll be distributing. We'll talk about that in a second. Here is a student roadmap. Starts with a driving question. What are the important natural characteristics of Michigan? And here are different files that are being activated. And you're going to walk across a path. Take a look. We're going to go in detail a little more in a few minutes. So I'm not going to really open them. But there's Google Slides. You're familiar with Google Slides, of course. We have a tool called Collaborify Writer, which we felt, Google Docs is wonderful, but for K-5, maybe you need something a little simpler, a little more multimedia, and that's what Collaborify Writer is. We have PDF Pal, which is a PDF markup tool, a very simple markup tool. It works. So this is a roadmap, okay? And notice over here we have a legend, and the nodes are color-coded, assignments, reading, big ideas, okay? You can close that. Notice here's the phone icon, where if someone was collaborating, we could be talking to each other. These 3 dots, this is where you add collaborators, right? Add collaborators so that you can then talk to that collaborator. Oops. So again, I'm going to go back to the roadmap. Back again, back. Okay, now I'm back to this roadmap. I want to show you, this is Mrs. Skinner's class. Mrs. Skinner is a teacher from Niles School, Niles, Michigan. She came to us on a Thursday night, took one of our webinars that we do Thursday night at 8 p.m. We've been doing them all summer. Then she came to a webinar that we gave on Friday, a 2-hour, and on Monday, she rolled out roadmaps. She created them, she rolled them out, great. And one of the roadmaps was in particular interesting. This is a picture, a mother came downstairs and saw her son giving instructions to the younger brother on how to use roadmaps. And the mother, the mother took the video and sent it to Mrs. Skinner, saying it just blew her mind that this is what the youngster was doing. Mrs. Skinner had 100% attendance during the COVID disruption, while her colleagues, they're doing fine, they're doing the best they can. But they were using paper, and they had 50% or less attendance. But she was using roadmaps. And one of the young lads said to her, when school is over, can we use roadmaps? Because they engaged in it, they enjoyed it. Oops. I got too many things open, and I'm going to click and close some things. Okay, let's close some things here. Okay, now I want to show you this one. This is also from Mrs. Skinner's class. Now, Mrs. Skinner is a British, and so she used Harry Potter as her theme, and this is the PDF Pal, the pencil tool, the text tool, the highlighting tool, the eraser, and the colors, okay? And this is the schedule for second graders that she sent out for the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can have a schedule, and Monique is going to show you, and the others are going to talk about it, a schedule that you're going to set, you could send out for either by the day or the whole week, and the kids walk through it. This is second graders, and they had no trouble walking through this. I'm going to erase this note, this line here, but I do want to tell you about it. This is recommended by Connor. One of the young lads found the video, and he thought it was really cool, and he thought the kids in this class should see it. So he asked Mrs. Skinner to put it in here, and he wanted recommended by Connor. So Connor saw it. Okay. So again, I'm going to go back to here. Let me close some of these up because I keep making the same mistake over and over again. There we go. Nicole, do you want to talk about this one?
Sure. So like I said, when I introduced myself, my teacher partner and I were only using the roadmaps. We were piloting them with our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students for the Create for STEM MLPBL lessons from MSU. And when the stay-at-home order was issued, the other exploratories had no idea how, as exploratory teachers, they were going to send their content to our students K-5. So we not only taught the other exploratory teachers how to collaborate on a map, which you'll see a little bit later, but we also had to teach our K-2 students how to use a roadmap remotely. They had not ever seen it in school before. We were only using it 3.5. So I used Loom. You could also use Screencastify or whatever recording service you prefer. And I recorded a mini lesson of myself going through a map and how to use a couple of the apps. And 3 weeks later, literally the 3rd week of stay at home, I did a lesson with my K-2 students about predator-prey relationships. And they, oh my gosh, they took off with one of our applications called Flipbook. And it creates like a stop motion animation. And so this is one of my kindergarten students who had never used this before, who watched my 7-minute Loom video and then was able to create their own predator-prey relationship. And I had frogs eating ladybugs and birds eating worms and tigers going after zebras. Some of them were a little graphic. Mr. Sulloway's, or Professor Sulloway's favorite one, Spider-Man going after a spider. I had just the cutest animations from my K2 students. And I mean, what a way for them to demonstrate their understanding. And not only are they demonstrating their understanding of that science concept, but they're also using technology skills to make an animation. They learned how to copy a page. They learned how to import a picture. I was thrilled with the work I got back from my kiddos.
Thank you, Nicole. And here's the little older students. And Monique, do you want to talk about this one? And then.
Absolutely. So this is one of the MLPBL units. It's the toy unit. So it's our second unit that we do in MLPBL, which is Multiple Literacies Project-Based Learning. It's from Create for STEM out of MSU. And students are actually learning about forces. So they're learning about balanced and unbalanced forces using toys. And this is a stomp rocket, and they've created a model of the stomp rocket showing those forces when they're unbalanced and the movement occurs, and when they're balanced, when that movement stops. The next sample that we have here is actually from Nicole's group, and Nicole's group they also do the MLPBL units, but this is 4th grade, and it's transferring energy. So they're showing how this water wheel transfers energy to do work. And so it's a really awesome way that kids can show their modeling skills in our animation tool, Flipbook, and show their learning in a fun way.
Thank you. Thank you, Monique.
Professor Sulloway, can you go full screen on your shared screen so it's a little bit easier for everyone to see? Thank you.
There you go. There you go. Sorry. Thank you. I don't think Dawn is here, but I want to show a picture. Oops, there you go. This is Dawn, 2nd grade. Now, it's, again, not remote, but the kids are working collaboratively together. And you can get them to work collaboratively while they're remote, again, with the microphone, talking to each other. And they stopped asking Dawn, the questions, the teacher, and asked themselves and worked as problem solvers. And she was surprised and encouraged to see that this could happen. And she encouraged it and developed it. And what she found in terms of progress on the NWEA scores was in half a year, these children did as much in a half a year as the previous year did in a whole year in terms of achievement gains. So we do get gains on the test scores, and I'd like to introduce Denise, who will tell you a little bit more about test scores. Denise?
Yeah, hi. I want to share an example of a assessment readiness piece that I use a roadmap platform. When I originally started into it, I was more geared. I brought it into my classroom for a full year in the world of social studies. I soon realized, okay, is that better?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, you can hear me. I'm sorry, I'm having a little internet connection. But I just wanted to share in the world of testing, as Elliot just mentioned, with Dawn's scores, I could show the same as far as M-STEP. I took pieces of M-STEP high priority data that is public in each district, and as a 5th grade teacher, I took the 3rd grade and the 4th grade pieces. And in front of you, you see the 3rd grade, the standards listed, and it's really easy with the units that we've built inside of the roadmaps for each grade to go gather that, that information, because we all know that students are responsible for a whole lot of information and teachers are at 5th grade. 3rd and 4th grade, we can go back and pull that and create these roadmaps that help and use the resources, as you can see I did with the vocabulary and the resources, the OER work that I've done, and I knew that I could prepare my students well. And I think just the use of the roadmaps, the engagement, the problem solving, because we want to know, at least my administrators, well, okay, that's great, but let's see what the test scores say. Can we use these? My students, I had 120 students the last year, full roadmaps in social studies, score in the 60%. And if you're familiar with the fifth grade in the state, the average was 17%. So that data, and I also had that data the last 3 years in using digital tools, but the roadmap for sure was the best that I could do to personalize and distribute in ways that were powerful. So we're showing you all kinds of uses and subjects, the assessment piece for all of us, because that's where we have to have the data to say, can we use this? And these were quite easy to build once, you put the structure in. So I wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. I'm going to stop sharing now. And Monique, do you want to take back over?
Absolutely. So I'm sure that you're probably more questions are coming about and you're thinking, oh gosh, this is a lot, right? We've just kind of given you a quick little overview and some of the highlights of all that we have. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again and go back to our original PD roadmap. And within our original PD roadmap, we have our revisit the driving question board. So if we click on the revisit the driving question board, again, the drawer comes out from the left-hand side. You notice that when we click launch, yours looks different because you're in the student platform, remember? Yours is green on top and your launch is in blue down here. When we click on launch, this takes me to a student link. So now mine will look like yours. And you can see Jennifer just joined us and there's Mary. And if I go to this driving question board, I can look within the board and see, were there any questions that were in the board that were answered? Oh my goodness, look at my lovely assistant. She's like magic, isn't she, Liat? She put them all in beautiful little categories. So as we go through, you can take a quick look. Remember, we have the magnifying glass here so that we can bring it up really close. And then we can move the page, right? Up and down. Also, if you want it back centered, all you do is click this square, empty square in the middle, and it'll bring it back centered. So if you feel as though there were some questions that were answered, we're looking through, right? How can more than one teacher collaborate? Are there existing looms? Are there tools to support student access for learners with specific needs, I'm sure? We're going to show you all this, right? Is this for kindergarten? Are there kindergarten examples? We're going to talk about all of these things, and hopefully you'll get the majority of your questions answered. And if not, I promise that by the time you get to map 4 in your PD series, these questions will be pretty much complete. So that being said, you will continue to work on your driving question board, but right now I'm going to provide you with, how about a 4-minute break? Go get yourself a quick drink or use the restroom, whatever you need to do, but you got 4 minutes to answer a question and get anything you might need for the next hour. Okay?
Thank you, Monique.
Monique?
Yes.
Heads up.
What?
There are a lot of questions about how students can access the maps. Those would be all the blue ones in a diamond shape.
All right.
Monique, dear, you're still sharing your screen.
One minute warning. All right, so let's come back together, and I'm gonna share my screen. And here we are in our roadmap. Now, one thing I want you to know is that this 5th grade roadmap is going to look a little different than the one that I'm going to show you. We noticed that this one had an old schedule in it that we wanted you to see some of the newer units that we created. So we wanted to change that out. So for our presentation, we're going to show you some of the newer units, but it'll look very similar when you open it. But as you go through, here's an interactive in an independent way. So these are actual videos, right, of us doing this presentation that we're going to do for you. So it is an option for you to go back and look at and listen to things again if you feel the need. So let's go to our 5th grade schedule. So this is a schedule, a typical schedule that I would use in my classroom, whether I was remote or whether I was face-to-face. Instead of writing it all on the board, I can have it here on my screen in a roadmap. I can have all of the activities within there, and I only have to go to one place. My students, when accessing it on the internet, only need to go to one place. So one of the big questions was, where would my students get their roadmaps? And I was going to show you this little thing because you'll be able to see your roadmaps here too. So if you click in a new browser and you click start.roadmap.center, you're going to get a list of all the roadmaps that have been assigned to you or that you have in your collection. So start.roadmap.center is the student platform. Roadmap.center is the teacher platform. So that's a really big important thing to remember. Students always go to start.roadmap.center to get their roadmaps, or you can send them as a URL in a Google Classroom or email, however you want to do that. And we'll show you a little bit more about that. But I thought that was kind of cool to show you right now because you could look at truly your collections that you have in your start.roadmaps.center also. So going back to our regular schedule, here you have an option with a blank node to add a good morning message. Down here at the bottom of the page is a plus symbol, And this plus symbol gives you all the different apps that are available, and this would be just considered a blank node. A blank node can house a heading and even a subheading, right? Happy birthday to, maybe I could put in something in here, right? So this allows for me to personalize the map and add a little bit of collaboration or community within it. Also, we have the option for images, and you can change the color or the style. Notice you can only do this in the teacher platform. Here is a daily check-in that I like to always start the day with, whether I'm virtual or in the classroom. It kind of gives me a temperature check of the children and how they're feeling this morning or that morning of class. Here is a way that we can put a class meeting code within our roadmap. So this is really just a URL. And notice there's a little Apple badge on that. That Apple badge will keep it hidden. So if we send this map out to a student, it hides this class meeting. If we want them to join the class meeting, we would unclick the node before sending out the map. And once we send out the map, then they will actually be able to get into the meeting. To change your meeting code, because everybody has their own Zoom or their own Meet, you just click on this URL, change URL, and put your Zoom meeting code or your Zoom or your Meet link, however you're planning on meeting with your students. Click Save. Within the instructions, you could also type the code that they might need if they have to have a specific sign-in to get in, password. So then it's all in one place. They're not going out to an email, going here, going there, like trying to find all the pieces. It's in one place, and it's all can be accessed from one place. So looking back again at this daily check-in, this is just a simple Google form. This can be put in a roadmap as a simple Google form, and then I get all the responses. And then I'll know if I need to check in with one of my students a little bit closer, right? What's going on at home? What do you need? How can I help you in this time? Here's our morning announcements. I think this is going to be really important. Even in a virtual setting, I think that there still has to be that normal routine, I guess, of a day. And here at Haas Elementary, what we did is we still did our regular announcements, and we felt as though it was really important to keep that sense of community with our kids and to understand that they need that structure. So within our day, we always do announcements, and within the announcements, our pledge, our Haas Elementary pledge, right? And then here's my husband and I doing the happy birthday. It was our guest speaker week. And he, was doing the joke of the day. We just used some silly filters to do our video from our phone. And then our positivity project, those social emotional learning pieces, right, that we can put in here to help kids manage through this time. And it allows you a platform to talk and maybe even use one of those driving question boards or a way that they can leave messages about what they learned that day as far as in their social emotional learning. So within this node, this is a Collaborify Writer node. You saw that this is a regular old YouTube video. There were no ads at the beginning. And that's the really awesome thing about Writer is it strips off those ads in the beginning. Also, here is an option. Teachers can put in questions and responses. So I can ask a question, what was the main point of kid, president, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then a student, when they open the map, they can actually respond in here. Kid, president, and continue to respond. But if you're a kindergartner or you're a first grader, I don't think that the text option at the beginning of the school year is probably going to be for you. So here at the bottom of the page, they can click the photo video, take new photo or video, click the video, and there I am. And they would just click save when they were done. And when they save it, it will show up on the page. So it's really an awesome tool, Collaborify Writer, for them to be able to speak back and forth with their classmates, for you to provide feedback for a student, because you can do those videos just like they can do a video response for you. So it's really a cool tool that you can use. So that just kind of gives you that morning, bringing in the morning and that routine and starting the day off. Here is an example of a MESA unit in reading. So you guys are going to be using the curriculum, and the curriculum that we've developed, we've used the OER, the best OER that we could find, and we really like the MESA unit. It's very close to Lucy Calkins. It provides that workshop format so that kids are not glued to the screen. They have that time to do the independent reading, and they can do some response journals, and they have partnerships and collaborative class time, right? So that it doesn't have to be a read this and answer the questions to it type of thing, right? We can allow for what we would allow in the classroom. So here is how can readers clear up confusion. You can click on the learning, and it will take students to the lesson or the mini lesson within MESA. So if you're familiar with MESA, MESA is very scripted. And so I would kind of expect that a teacher would probably teach the mini lesson. However, if a student can't meet up at that time, or if they are not, if they're not available, or a kid can always come back here and they can click on the speaker button, and the speaker button will play the words out of the teacher. So this explains what they were learning within the mini lesson, and then it also goes through, and any pieces of the books that were supposed to be in the mini lesson, it cuts just that specific piece that you need of the book, so you're not having to like go through all the different videos and trying to figure out where exactly you're supposed to listen. So I'm going to go back to our main map, and the three pieces are mini lesson, the independent reading, and the reading response journal. So the independent reading goes to Get Epic. Get Epic is free for students during the school day. It may be something, unless you have other reading pieces or you expect the kids to be reading at different times than the school day, it may be something that you might have to supplement. But here, clicking on launch, it's going to take them to Get Epic, where they would sign in. We did provide a class code, but I would suggest you create a class code of your own. Students are going to read independently for 35 to 40 minutes. We put a timer here because we know how 5 minutes can feel like 95 minutes to a third grader. And so if I click launch, it takes them to the timer. They just pick their amount of minutes that they're supposed to do, and then their timer will go off. But then that allows them to really understand what a half hour feels like, or 35 minutes feels like. Here's a reading log for them to keep track of all of their reading. So within this reading log. Students would just log what they read that day. And this reading log will take them through the unit. A reading response journal. So whatever your strategy was for the day, which here is your learning target and your success criteria, they have to be successful today, right? Explain how to clear up confusion while reading. So within their reading response journal, to be successful today, they have to explain how to clear up confusion while reading. So they would go to their reading journal, and hopefully there was a little spot in their reading today that was confusing that they could clear up. So it's going to bring them to the reading response journal. Again, they'll have to click launch. The reason why there's that extra step is because this is set up so that it will go with them throughout the unit. So there's, you can see 30 pages. These are blank pages. This is a regular PDF markup tool. So any PDF could go in here. Here is the pencil, so they can use a stylus to write, right? Or they could use the T to type. They can also use the highlighter. So if you were to put text in here, they can use the highlighter to highlight text. And also there are multiple colors. So one way that one of our colleagues, she uses it in her ELL groups, is that she'll assign a certain color to students, and those certain colors, they work on one document together, and then she can still kind of assess and see, you know, where the kids are, but then they're working in a collaborative environment rather than alone. You can see I'm simply erasing them with the eraser, and there's the undo button, like, oh geez, I didn't mean to erase that. Okay. But I really do want it erased, so I'm going to erase it. Let's go back to our main map. And within the main map, there are two things down here that we put in our reading and writing workshop. Like I said before, you have that option of that Apple Note. The Apple Note would make it visible or not visible to students. Here you have the class meeting link where you could put a Zoom meeting in. And this partnership area at the beginning of the school year, I can promise you, my partnership area will not be available. It will have an Apple Note on it because they haven't learned how to use it yet, right? We need to teach all of these pieces. So partnership area would be where partnerships could go. This is taking me to somewhere that it shouldn't. I don't know exactly why. But that partnership area, it is a place that students can go and work together on one document, and teachers can assign them in partnerships. And the whole map is assigned individually. This would be assigned as a collaborative or partnership, and this could be assigned as a whole class collaborative. So within this whole class, students can work in these pieces, right? They can use a whole chart where you can work on a chart together. You could work on a collaborative board, much like we were doing with our driving question board. And here's that collaborative share where students could actually create videos within Writer, sharing something that they wanted to share, and all students would be able to see it. So I'm going to go back to the map, and you see here are our writing units, and those are also Mesa. And within the writing units, it is much the same. You have your mini lesson, your writer's notebook, and an after workshop share. You have your partnership area, your collaborative area, the learning targets, success criteria. You have your meeting link that you could put a live link in there, or you could also use that live link in the main piece. All of your teacher lessons are cut and put in here. So this specific lesson is here. You don't have to go to the Wayne Risa Rubicon site to get it. We have cut them all apart so that the specific lesson that you need is in that map. We have a writing timer the same way. We really feel like it's important for kids to understand that sense of time and what their obligation really is when doing their independent work. And then oh, this was a story mountain. So this is a story mountain that's in here. It's just a PDF of a story mountain for students on the book Come On Rain that would be read aloud that day. So I'm going to go back to our main map. And here I know that I believe you're going to be using our Eureka or Engage New York Math, but there's also that option if you have a curriculum that you already use that's a purchased curriculum from your school, you can use it here also. So it's just simply a web resource and it takes students to that sign-in page into that platform. So you could use it with a purchased curriculum. So I just wanted to point that out. But I'm going to click on launch and we're going to go into one of the Eureka math lessons just to kind of show you what it looks like. This is a typical lesson for 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. You can see there are many pieces to it. If you've ever taught Eureka or Engage New York, there are lots of pieces to it, but the main pieces are the beginning, which is in pink here, fluency, the turn and talk, an application problem, which is just to get their mind thinking about what they're going to learn for that day. Then actually the concept development where they're learning about that specific thing they're learning, that skill. The problem set, which is also in PDF form, so the kids can write on it, type on it, do all the things that they would need and within that problem set. And then we really felt as though the most important piece for teachers to be present for their students would be in that live debrief. So once they've went through the fluency and the application, they've learned through that concept development from a video or other means, and then went through the problem set for 10 minutes, then they come together and talk as a class and discuss what they really struggled with and what was easy and how they can help each other be successful. Notice there's times on these. These times should be pretty accurate as far as we don't want students completing the whole problem set. We want them working hard for 10 minutes and then coming to the debrief. That's the whole idea of Engage New York, is it allows for some kids to get completely finished because they're fast finishers, and some kids might only get 3/4 of their page done, but if they can show their understanding in the exit ticket, we know that they have that understanding for the day, and the exit ticket is very small, usually 1 or 2 problems. Here, homework can be assigned to those students that had some difficulty with the exit ticket. And then homework explanations are here. And the homework explanations are really important because we don't have to depend on parents to explain the homework to students, because sometimes we know that's difficult for parents because they haven't heard this vocabulary in a long time, and sometimes don't really understand what we're talking about or want the students to do in the instructions. So here is a way that students can do their homework at home because there's a video explanation. And even if a student were to copy the video explanation, at least they're getting more than what they would have gotten had somebody said, I don't know what to do, and just go back without it, right? Here we have put in each map foundation videos. So students that are really having a hard time with that concept, maybe they need to review the foundations, go back maybe a grade level to kind of scaffold them to be able to understand this. Or maybe they can move along a little bit faster and going through the topic A videos and practice within Khan Academy. There's also availability for games. You can put ABC games in here, or here is a book on mystery math and Get Epic. So there's always these other options and pieces in there. You can Apple Note them so that they are not visible to students, or you can leave them in there and allow for them to have that as an option. So I'm coming back, and now I'm going to let one of my colleagues, Denise, speak about social studies, and she can explain. We have K-5 social studies, all MC3 and Michigan Go Open, along with 4, 5, 6 Giants.
Okay, I will not put the video on because of having some computer issues, but thanks, Monique. Just an example of one of the lessons within the 5th grade, again, as Monique said, we have taken the MESA units along with that were created with MC3 in coordination with the My Open textbook. I was lucky enough to work with a great group of 5th grade teachers throughout the state and write that My Open book. So I came in using that digital book and found how easy it is when I said in the beginning to take pieces or OERs and put them into the roadmap. So on the way in 5th grade, it's mainly, colonial America. This is why the colonists were unhappy with the British rule, starting with the driving question. And you can see throughout the roadmap, starting with the French and Indian War, there's that collaborate writer, the videos that Monique mentioned. You don't have to worry about the ads, and you can use as is as you open our units if you're using those units, or you can add your own. You might have a better video. You might want more questions. And then we have tried to use such a variety of multi activities, and we look at the multiple intelligences of all the things that we know will engage the kids. We use the PDF pail for you can see the Boston Massacre and the Reader's Theater. I love doing that with my students, love that. So we kind of try to use some of our things, and like we've said, you can customize, and Monique's opening up Get Epic. We always have those students that want more. I used the Tea Party book here for that theater, but always wanted to give my students more options to read more. Again, using your own PDF pails or the ones we have here, we try to cover all of those pieces. You'll see videos, the Liberty Kids, we used that series throughout, just snippets, some right from the book, some from just the YouTube. And as you can see, as you're going around, we're having the kids, the arrows represent, they're going to go back in and record those important dates so they can do the timeline project. And you can set this up different ways. You can add more information. This is just like the basic. Okay, here's the 7-year war, and as the kids fill this chart out, it becomes their own and they can use it. The culminating project from the MESA unit was a timeline, and this was in the world of cutting out pieces of paper. So what we did is let the kids develop and use, because this flip book has so many options, and I know Nicole showed you the animation, but the kids can also use to build other things, and as well as the animation. So we used it here to build that timeline, and they love the flip book at every age. It's one of their favorite tools to use. So again, you can see the multitude of activities, the variety, and you can, in the right hand corner, we have different units. Like here's a whole chapter, but you might want to just pull out pieces, but I don't want to have to go look for that chapter or that book. I want to keep it up there. In science and in reading, sometimes those chapters are so many pages, so we can just pull them out, put them in a smaller PDF, and there we are. So again, we add song and art and all of those things, but I want to just stress that it's yours, and it's customizable. It's, you know, even for my students that had learning accommodations, I can change notes. I can distribute it in ways that everybody feels that they can be successful. So we have that, as Monique said. We've been building that this summer. We just finished that 5th grade one. We're very excited about it, and we think that you know, you're going to be able to really use it and use it the way you want to, or use it as is, you know, the way we did it, or what you need to do with it. Thanks, Monique.
That's the great thing about roadmaps, right?
Yes.
I would recommend at the very beginning, when you begin to use them this year, I would say leave them like they are at first, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, learn how to use them, and then, I mean, don't stress yourself out thinking you have to create all brand new things, right?
Right. And even like the schedules, like the teachers that I have worked with have said, oh my goodness, thank you for those templates. It might not look exactly like the one Monique has, but you can take it. It's a starting place, and put your own stuff and start it. And some people like to start completely from a blank screen. We all have different ways that we like to do this, but I think starting with the templates, and starting with the units the way they are, and you know, just not stressing yourself out over, I got to create my own. That's the beauty of this platform. Thanks.
You're welcome. So here you can see now it's lunchtime and recess, right? Well, on those rainy days, I always provided that indoor recess for my kids, kind of allowed for some of the Go Noodle workings. Denise, you still have your microphone on, I can tell because it's echoing. So then here, looking at the next piece is exploratory. Nicole is going to talk about the exploratory classes. This is where you can really get that whole idea of collaboration and how teachers can work together and be in one place. So as grade levels, you could work on one map for all of the students, or as grade level bands you could even do. But here is Nicole, and she's going to talk about the exploratory in Kent City.
Thank you, Monique. So, like I said earlier, our art, music, and PE teachers had never used the Roadmap platform before. We spent about an hour going through with them, and then created a template. So the template was the map that you see here. It had a node for music, one for art, STEM, and so on. We made copies of that map for each week. So you can see up at the top, this one happens to say week 2. And we had 7 weeks of at-home learning. And then we used the 3 dots and added all 5 of us as collaborators to that map. So then each week, each teacher would click on their node and create their lesson within that node. And this made it so that we only had one roadmap to send out to students. And all of our maps started with a video lesson. We either recorded on our phones or Loom or Screencastify, whatever you choose to use. We did that welcome message. We did short mini lesson. We tried to keep them, 7, 8, 10 minutes tops. And then students had activities to do and normally a little assessment. Now this map is gigantic compared to the lessons that we normally sent out. This went to our 5th grade students because they missed their Greenfield Village field trip this year, which was just devastating for them. But we created a virtual field trip to Greenfield Village for our 5th grade teachers with the map. So many resources in here, ways for them to see all of the different things at Greenfield Village and kind of experience a little bit of that, even though they could not go in person. So the other thing that was really, really great about this, not only were all 5 of us collaborating on one map. It's just one link to send to our students. So after everybody had their link in that map, I would go to those 3 dots up at the top. I would generate that student link, and I would send that to the classroom teachers. And the classroom teachers would put that link in their Google Classrooms, or they would send it out with class tags, some of them. And then students just had that one link to get to all 5 of their specials or exploratory classes, which was really, really nice.
I was just going to say, in the same way that you would create that link, a teacher can use this link. If the specials teacher sent this link to them, they can take this link and put it in a map as a web resource node, and it would take them to this roadmap, right?
Yes, exactly. So it was very user-friendly for all of us. We did use the phone feature a couple of times when we were first starting out. Our gym teacher is just an amazing man. He is a great teacher. He has great relationships with our students. They all love him. But technology is definitely not his forte. And so it was really great that I did not have to try to call him and run the computer at the same time, that we could just hop on a map together. We could click on that phone. We could talk using the voice over IP feature to help him through, and I could walk him through, press the plus sign. You're going to make a writer node. And it just made that collaboration so nice for us because we could collaborate right here on the platform. We didn't have to text and call and try to work on the map. We could see where we were and who we were talking to, and I could instruct him of how to put those apps in there, and it worked beautifully for all 5 of us. And we're going to be using it again this fall. We've already created a template that looks very similar to that. We're planning on face-to-face instruction at this time, but if and when we do have to go online, we're ready to support our students from a distance too.
Absolutely. So when I clicked on that plus sign at the bottom that Nicole was talking about, adding certain nodes, these are all the apps that are available to you, right? You can set up a driving question, which is pretty much a blank node. It just kind of gives you a question that they're going to answer. Here's a roadmap within a roadmap. So I can put a lesson roadmap. I can have a 3rd grade reading node, and that node takes me to a specific lesson within a roadmap. Here's the flip book that we've talked about that could be used for a writing tool. You can use it as an animation tool. There are lots of options here. Students can actually record their voice on that also. Your Collaborify map, which you guys have experienced through the driving question board. The Collaborify writer, which is a multimedia tool, which is really awesome for pictures or video or text, and all the text on that page can be read to students. We have a KWL, same, text can be read within the KWL. The chart can keep track of reading log or other pieces such as the timeline or the parts of the timeline. We have a Venn diagram for compare and contrast. The PDF pal, which you can put any PDF of your own even within there. We have a web resource node, which is any web resource. So if you like Freckle or if you like Prodigy, you can put those in a web resource node and it'll take the students directly to that website. So you're not having to say, put in, F-R-E-C-K, yeah. So here is import my file, anything that's in your storage or in your files, you can import it. A learning activity is more like a turn and talk or go outside and find blah, 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 and then they come back with it. Here's a blank note. Here's a teacher narrative for you to put your notes. But notice there's also Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Forms. So when you click on one of these, like Google Sheets or Google Docs, Slides or Forms, what it would do is bring up all of those out of your drive for you to choose the one that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to our main map. Notice up at the browser tab, so I'm in this one. If you go to the left one, it takes me, you know, one to a higher level and then to the highest level of that map. And then we have science, which is MLPBL science, which is multiple literacies, project-based, which is mainly inquiry, right? We want students figuring out these questions. It is not, it's not a, I'm telling you how to do this kind of thing. We want them thinking about it. It's a lot of conversation. So I'm hoping that you're in for that, because I think you will be so surprised, and it's so cool how these kids bring so much knowledge with them and can teach each other, and we get to sit back and facilitate the conversation. Here is the last and final piece on this map that I'd like to show you, and this is that afternoon win time. So some people were asking, well, how can I make sure that my special ed students' needs are met? Or what if somebody, you know, needs to go to Title I? Or how about speech? Or what are we gonna do with resource room? Here is a spot in the map that these resource teachers have collaborated in. So they were all pieces of that collaboration. So they had shared, one person made the map and then they shared it, doing that add collaborators, right? You just put the person's email in at Gmail, okay. And then I add them as a collaborator, and now they can be in the map with me. And then they would just add their roadmap in here. So if I go to Miss Mullins' EL group, you can see that within her map, she has made a live meeting time from Tuesday to Thursday at 2 o'clock. There's some activities for them to do if it's a day that they're not meeting, or maybe they're meeting and she wants them to do this activity together on the telephone. So within that EL group, on this page prior to, the kids all click this telephone. They're all talking in voice over IP, and they can complete this activity. And like I had said before, kids can choose a specific color for themselves so that a teacher knows who did what, and they can add all of the pieces. So then there is just the pen, there is the texting, there is the light highlighter tool, right? You can do all of these pieces and then you just erase. Now going back to our main map again, that I see is a powerful tool for our Title I people, our speech therapists, our OTs, all of that, where they can collaborate in one place, and then students don't have to do that whole, well, where am I supposed to be? Well, I don't know, like, how am I supposed to get there? It's much nicer and easier for us as adults to accommodate the kids.
Monique,
Yeah.
speaking of accommodations, there were a lot of questions about what this might look like for lower L.
Yes.
Can we show a schedule for younger learners to see what that might look like?
Yeah. I pulled one up earlier. Let's see if, here it is. So here is a sample lesson, a UMCDC sample lesson. So you can pull this up out of the repository. Here is a place for the announcements. Here's still a place for the class meeting, but it looks a little more simple and streamlined. And notice this is one whole week, right? So you could plan out one whole week and have it ready for students. You could simply copy this map and plug in the next week of instruction in each map and have it planned out. Here we go to Monday. I'm going to click launch. And on this Monday, you can see it is August 25th, 2020. Here are the daily lessons. If I click on Reading Student, it's going to take me to a map. This is a typical map for a lower L, kindergarten, first, second grade. Here's their lesson, their read to self, and their share. There are options to add those other pieces. If I click on this reading 1.1.4, that is a teacher map. Notice there are options to have a live workshop instead of the mini lesson. There are ways that you can add a reading login. Maybe they're not quite ready yet, right? Or the notebook. All of the pieces that a teacher might need, the mid-workshop teaching point, the reading standards that are taught within Unit 1, the lesson plan for that specific lesson, and then a leveled reader chart. So this is what it looks like on the teacher format side, and then this is what it would look like sending it out to students. It's very simple. The instructions are read to the students. They click launch activity. Here are their lessons. They play the video. But like I said, I really think that most of this will probably be live type lessons, and then kids can answer some of these questions or do that independent practice by themselves. Within this, remember, if a kid clicks completed, it closes that tab. So what happened is when I was in this activity, there's a tab, right? But then when I go back out of the activity and I click complete, notice the tab will go away. So kids aren't going to have all the tabs like we have open. It closes for them once they click the complete, and it gives them that visual representation that they've done that activity and they're done with that piece. So much like that exploratory that we talked about with Nicole, we also have that option in here where teachers could meet all together. These two nodes up here are teacher ones that would not be visible for a student. Notice if I open up the Engage New York, in the lower L, we've provided symbols or icons that represent specific things. And there are still a lot that are Apple noted, meaning they will not show up in a student map. And I'll show you a student map real quick so that you can see what it would look like on their end. And here it is. So it's much simpler looking on the student's end, and you can always take off these games and practices and review, which would only allow for that specific lesson totally. There are manipulatives that are available. I could see this really working in a Zoom session, kids using manipulatives, you talking to them through those pieces. So they have 10 frame, cubes, different pieces that they can use, manipulatives that they can use online, working through their problems. Okay, and I'll show you how easy this is to change, right? So here's August 25th, and it said that we were on 1.1.4. Here's Tuesday. I'm going to open up Tuesday. And if I go to Tuesday's teacher roadmap, I click on File, Change File. Yesterday we were on 1.1.4. I go 1.1.5, click Enter to search. It's going to bring up my 1.1.5s. And I would click the one that says Puja and click Select, and it's loading that lesson in my roadmap. So you would do the same thing with any lesson within, if you're going to be using our curriculum, that's exactly how you would do it. What did you want to say, Leah?
Oh, don't worry, you will not have multiple options. That is just a Monique thing.
Yeah, it's just because I have access to a lot of people's maps. So that's why sometimes you see like lots of people on different things. That's why that wouldn't be typical for a student or for you to see. You would only have access to the one map. But you can see how easy this can be, right? How easy you can actually just upload those pieces. And my suggestion would be leave it right now, add your curriculum or in the order in which you want to teach things. And then in a few weeks, when you start realizing what you want to change for you and your students, then feel more comfortable in changing them. But I would be very reluctant to advise you to go in and like try to create your own stuff and do everything all brand new. I mean, you could, but I don't know as though it would be necessary or as though it would make for a better outcome at this point. That's just, I guess, kind of how I feel about it. I think it'll be better for you to do it in a use the templates that we have until you become more comfortable with this. But I'm going to go back to our main map. So this is what you were given for your training. And in this main map is the first map is what we went through today. And we'll go back to our driving question board here in a few minutes. There is a second roadmap. The second roadmap that you go through, this will be independent. You'll be doing this on your own. It'll take probably, I don't know, half hour, hour. And within this roadmap, you're going to learn about all the different apps that we have available, right? And learn the features of them so that you know how to use them and feel comfortable using them. But we tried to provide a fairly entertaining way of doing it. So we went through putting you through a roadmap about Mr. Bean, if you're from around the 90s, right? And Ace Ventura. So as you go through the roadmap, you're learning about Collaborify Writer in this particular node. And it explains, you know, welcome, this is Collaborify Writer, and it tells all the great things about Collaborify Writer. And then they want you to watch a video. And then when you're done watching this video, then you're going to respond like a student could respond down here, right? And maybe you're going to respond during video. And then it explains how to actually do those responses. But then you'll go to the next activity. So then you go back to your map, just one left of the browser you were in will take you to that. You'll have the option to click complete. So then when you click complete, it's going to actually close that tab that you had open for the Collaborify Writer. So exactly like you would just follow the sequence path and find your way to the very end. And then once you're finished with this roadmap, you're going to move on to roadmap 3. Roadmap 3 is a little more complicated because this is how you're going to learn how to use all the teacher tools. And it will probably take a good hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe even a little, just depends how deep you go, right? And so if I click launch activity here, it's going to take you to a virtual scavenger hunt. So we've set it up so that you could play this little game that we set up. It's a virtual scavenger hunt, and in this virtual scavenger hunt, you would start here. You're going to answer 1.1. 1.2 is going to take you to roadmap.center, and then you're going to answer a question in this Google form. So when you click on the Google form here, it opens up, and it's going to take you to here. It says, right, when you go to roadmap.center, what color is the roadmap center written in? Well, right now it is in RED. Don't tell anybody I told you. And when I click next, it takes me to the next question. So it says, look for the answer in your next lock. How many pages are in the flip book? How many pages are in the flip book? So what happens is I have to go back to my main map, right? I already did 1 and 2. Now I'm gonna be going to node 2, 1. If I go into this launching activity, and then this is going to load a flip book. As I read through the flip book and I click through the pages, I'll find out how many pages are at the end, right? And then they will show you how to use the animation. When you get to the end, it's gonna explain to you how to use the animation tool so you can see the little guy in the corner do a flip. So as you're going through here, you experience learning something on the teacher platform, put in some type of a code to unlock the next question, takes you to the next puzzle, right, or piece that you're going to learn in the toolbar. Then back, you answer, back out, right? Where do you get the curricula? Answer. How do you create a class? Answer, right? So as you finish this roadmap, once you get toward the end over here, you're actually going to be gathering something from the repository to do your last roadmap. So roadmap 4, you gather from the repository, and it will teach you how to do that. And when you've gathered it from the repository, you'll actually do that roadmap. But notice you have your driving question boards here. These driving question boards are still, they're still linked to the original driving question board. So any more questions that you come up with or things that have been answered, don't forget to fill them in the comment section so that we can see by time we get done with the PD, how many questions have actually been fulfilled in the PD itself. And then if there are things left, we know that that's our next touch when we meet up together. How was that? Blah, blah, blah. That was a lot, right? That was a lot. So I am going to stop my share real quick. And when I have a Google form that I would like you to fill out, I'm going to put it in the chat here in one quick second. If anybody has any questions, you're welcome to unmute yourself and ask. I'm sure one of the team members would be happy to answer.
Yes, so Sandy, no question, no answer guide, but we'll be more than happy to answer any questions regarding the PD Map 3, I'm guessing, but I'm sure you can do it.
You know what, Leon, I want to piggyback off that. In some of the lessons in the 5th grade, I'll just speak for the Mesa, we did put many with the Apple nodes of kind of the teacher answer, not the lesson, or the answer keys in some of those. So I think some of the lessons may have some of that within. If that.
Yeah, no, the lessons have answer keys. If that was the question, our lessons do contain lesson keys. I think the question was, is there an answer key to the PD Map 3, I believe.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought I might have read that wrong. And then somebody
don't want to ruin your fun.
I know. You got to have a little bit of fun. Someone was asking about the schedules. Oh, I see someone's answering that already. But Nicole's is typing fast. I can't keep up with
awesome.
it.
So I put a link to a Google form in the chat. If you could please click on that link and give us some feedback on our PD for today, that would be appreciated. We hope that we answered some of your questions. We hope that in your mind you're wanting to know more and wanting to figure this out, because that's how real learning happens. So we really appreciate that you spent time with us today. And if you have anything else you'd like to ask before we leave, please just unmute yourself and ask.
Monique, I am just wondering if, for my benefit and maybe some others, if you could just one more time tell me the homework between now and Wednesday.
Absolutely. So I'm going to share my screen again so that we can, we know exactly what we're doing here. So our homework for today or tonight or tomorrow or whenever before Thursday, correct?
I think
Before Wednesday, I think.
Wednesday. Oh, sorry. Wednesday. So we did Roadmap 1 today. If you feel like you need to go back, there are videos within Roadmap 1 that may be beneficial. We walk through the schedule in the independent or the interactive piece. So within this same roadmap that was sent to you, you could click on the independent study, or you can go to the interactive, which it's the exact same thing as the independent study, except we've used one of those tools where it stops the YouTube video and you have to answer a question, and then it will run for a little while and then you have to answer the question. So they're identical videos. It's just one is more interactive and the other is independent and will just run. So walking back.
Monique, could you go back to that roadmap? Yeah. People asked about the schedule, and so that would be node number 8. If you clicked on node number 8, that's where you're going to get the schedule. So it won't appear in your roadmaps, list of roadmaps, but it'll appear once you click there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was
I
in
would
the
suggest
question.
you can go to the repository and get your own too, but you'll learn all about those within the next 2 PD maps also. So here, this Explore a Roadmap, this one is learning about the apps, learning about how the apps work, what you would use them for, why you know, we feel that what they're good for and what to use them for within the roadmaps. But it's kind of a fun way for you to learn about those apps while, you know, learning also about Mr. Bean, I guess. And then going back to our last map in the PD series. So these all need to be completed by Wednesday. When you click on this, it's going to take you to the big map that is the kind of like an escape room, right? We set it up as kind of like an escape room. And part of the reason why we use some of these tools too is to kind of give you an idea of what's out there and what kinds of things you could do for your kids to make it more engaging and more fun. So with this escape room, you will go through and you finish 1, 1, 2, then you add your answer in the Google form. It's going to unlock the next question. You read the question, you go to 2, 1 and 2, 2, and you try to find that answer to the question while you're learning about the tools in the toolbar. Then you put that answer in your Google form. Then you're going to go back out to 3, 1, 3, 2, right? So as you're walking through this map, as you're learning all these different pieces of how to send a map to students, how to create a class, how to see what your students are doing, being able to monitor what they're doing, how to get things out of the repository. As you're doing all of those things, you're gathering some information to put in here just to make it a little bit more interactive rather than just like, yeah, I'm watching the video, yeah, I'm doing that, right? It kind of keeps you on your toes a little bit more. So it would be a tool that I would use for my kids because I think it's a little bit more fun than just going through and watching PD videos, right? So the same kind of thing here on the very last one, you're going to gather a PD map 4 right here. It says you're going to get PD series map 4 here. So you're going to go there. You're going to learn the skill that you learned about getting something from the repository. You're going to get that map from the repository, and then you will complete that map. That last map is going to teach you how to customize, how to differentiate, how to change things, how to make stuff. And when you come back on Wednesday, hopefully we'll be able to separate into maybe a couple different groups, and you'll be able to share what you created. Did that clear it up?
It's going to take a few hours, and you can just walk through it. I mean, work through it. It's a lot to learn, absolutely. But you can get it. You'll get it. And there's questions about differentiation. It's going to come. I know you want to do it now, but
I
patience.
know.
Patience.
Yeah, a lot of it is in the map. The majority of anything that you would need, we really took a lot of careful thought and put it in there. And so I think you'll find the majority of your answers in the roadmap PD series, but if it's not, make sure you're putting it in that driving question board and you're answering the questions as you're finding answers to them, so that when we come back together, we can talk about what is still a burning question that we need to answer, right?
So maybe just a couple of things for either Nicole or Monique or Elliot, or if Billy's still on the line, but well, two parts. One, we're getting together at 1 o'clock again on Wednesday. Can you give us just a little sneak peek on what we might be looking for on Wednesday? And then part two, I know many of us are just anxious to start, creating and starting to put together, because we're going to be teaching right around the corner. And that's the one thing that we want to do. And are we supposed to be waiting till Wednesday for that? Or are we allowed to do that ahead of time?
You're allowed to do that ahead of time, but what I would suggest is that you wait, because I know it's going to be hard. But if you go through the PD series, we wouldn't want you to waste time, right? So I would go through the PD series. That's the main thing. When you come back to the PD series, that map 4, that is where you're going to be creating some things and playing around with the tools and learning how to use things. So I know that, let me tell you, I know from experience, I would be the first person to be clicking on new map, and I'd be just messing with things, because that's just how I roll. But
Monique, I was going to say the same thing. I would jump right on there, and coming from the ed tech world, you can't hurt it. You really can't hurt it. So I would say if you want to open a new map, throw those apps up there and play with it, because that's how I learn. If I want to learn Flipgrid or Padlet or anything like that, I jump on there and I play around with it. You learn the way best for you.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. And then if you come up against questions, then, and that's the thing, you definitely want to go through the PD maps though, because the answers to the majority of anything that you would have are going to be in there. And so, but yeah, I know I'm not a very good rule follower when it comes to that stuff either. I like to jump in.
Remember, there are videos, there are 1-minute videos on the website. Before you ask a question, go to the videos and watch the 1-minute video. Search for YouTube or search for animation And there'll be a 1-minute video. And if you don't find it, let us know. We'll create another 1-minute video. But so that you can get the answer right away by going to those videos and watching them. 1
Let me
minute.
show you here right on that roadmap.center. If you don't remember, the roadmap.center is pretty easy to remember. You can click on roadmap.center. It's going to take you to that page that Dr. Soloway showed you at first. Here's tutorials. Those are more of a PDF, like reading format. But then here are the 1-minute videos, right? It'll take you immediately there. So that's that home button. And then here are all the videos, how to use a roadmap, right? How to videos for students, how to videos for teachers. Then there's even farther down, how to videos for teachers about roadmap.center in particular. So we have tons of videos, and we add more and more every day whenever we get a question that we don't feel is answered by any of the questions.
So the answer to a long answer to your short question, Doug, some of you are just going to jump in and go to new roadmap on the upper left and start playing. And some of you are going to say, no, I'm going to go through it a little more systematically. Either way, you can do it either way, or a little of both.
Yeah.
Because that's what the kids are going to do too. They're going to see the roadmaps and they'll start going through it. Yeah. That's what they're going to do. Does that help, Doug? No. Okay. Any other questions, folks? Absolutely. We're here. Take advantage. We're here. It is a lot. You'll get it. You'll get it. You'll get it. I promise you. I promise you, you're going to get it. Okay, we will send out the link for this tutorial. It's got to get processed and all that other good stuff, and then I'll send it out. But otherwise, we'll see you Wednesday. Doug, do you have any last-minute suggestions? Nope. Okay.
No, I just want to thank Elliot, you and the team for just, walking people through with all kinds of charisma and excitement that you guys all carry. So thank you for that. We'll look forward to connecting with you guys on Wednesday.
Absolutely. Peace. Thank you, folks. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Monique. You can rest now.